Well, the topic I was given was why celebrate Black History Month? Quite the question. Well, I say we must celebrate it to make Canadians and people everywhere aware of the part that blacks have played, and others too, in the founding of this great nation.
Bonjour. February is when we celebrate Black History Month in Kingston. Do any of these names mean anything to you? Carrie Best, Bruni Surin, Elijah McCoy, Marie-Joseph Angélique. All of these people have made significant contributions to Canadian history.
I think Black History Month is important to celebrate because it's part of history. It's a lot of unsung heroes, a lot of people who sort of faded into the background, and people who are not as celebrated in normal mainstream history, but are still an integral part of Canadian, Queens and Kingstonian history.
Pour moi personnellement, l'histoire des Noirs a toujours été quelque chose qui m'a intéressée. Elle est complexe, elle n'est pas forcément beaucoup abordée et pourtant elle est une des plus importantes en fait dans l'histoire.
Et c'est vraiment important de se rappeler de leur projet, tout ce qu'ils ont fait dans la société parce que tout ce qu'ils ont fait a ouvert les portes pour moi comme en tant qu'étudiant.
We haven't always paid as much attention as we rightfully should to the contributions of Black Canadians all across the country, and particularly in Kingston. Thinking just of Queens, a very obvious example is just across the road we have Robert Sutherland Hall, which is named for our first black graduate back in the 19th century.
And then also became the first black lawyer in Canada. And upon his death, he bequeathed his entire estate to Queen's University, which saved the university from having to be annexed by Toronto University, or even worse, possibly closing.
Before coming to Canada, I did not know anything about Black History Month because I suppose every day was Black History Month. But when I came here, then I found out about Black History Month.
Est-ce que vous croyez que les femmes sont sous-représentées dans le mois de l'histoire des Noirs?
Je crois que les femmes en général dans beaucoup de choses dans la société sont sous-représentées, donc je ne crois pas que c'est vraiment très différent quand on parle des mois des Noirs.
There are certainly lots of black women who have played major parts. Of course, as recently as our former Governor General, Michelle Jeanne, and then Jean Augustine, who was responsible for getting Black History Month started in Canada. There are many, but somehow we don't have their names in the history books as of yet.
Apart from being principal of Queens, I am in fact a historian, and as a historian I can attest to the fact that too many important people and stories are missing from our history books. I don't remember anything in Canadian history, to be perfectly honest, that I was taught in school.
Not too much Black Canadian history.
No, not at all. I remember when I first started learning history in school, it was in grade 7 and grade 8, but there was never really much of a recognition of Black history, and that's why we need Black History Month, because in the curriculum it's not even mentioned.
As a child, not to a great extent. In university, I've taken a lot more courses in African studies and African history, and I've sort of informed myself a little bit more.
Peut-être dans ma vie en tant qu'étudiant noir, quand je pars en cours, je n'ai pas toujours la chance d'avoir des sujets qui parlent de mon histoire, et pourtant une personne blanche ne sera jamais une question parce qu'ils ont ce privilège.
It's unfortunate, however, that I didn't learn this until the later years of my life.
Black History Month is not for blacks. Black History Month is for everyone. And one of the main things is to make not only blacks, but all Canadians aware of the roles played by blacks in the founding of this great nation of ours.
People can benefit from learning lots about things that they know nothing about or don't have familiarity with.
Que l'histoire des Noirs, ça ne se célèbre pas seulement en février, c'est toute l'année et ils font partie de tout aspect de notre société et c'est très important de reconnaître ce fait parce que tant qu'on ne prend pas le temps à reconnaître cela, on aura toujours besoin de février.
Black History is an important month, an important moment in the year in order to recognize the diversity that exists within Canada, within Kingston, within Queens.
I think half the value is in drawing attention to this to people who may have absolutely no knowledge of the heritage of Black history at all.
It's really important because Canada's a multicultural nation. It's important to know everybody's culture and everybody's background and what people have done to Canada.
L'histoire des Noirs, ce n'est pas seulement les histoires des Noirs, c'est l'histoire de tous les Canadiens.
During the year, there isn't as much recognition of the contributions or achievements of Black people to Canadian history, and so it's important to take some time to recognize it and to learn a bit more. And hopefully, as we recognize it more and acknowledge it, it wouldn't be so necessary to have a month set apart. But because by default we don't really recognize Black heritage or Black history in the Canadian context, it was important to set aside some time to do so.
Let's not repeat the mistakes that were done in the past. You know, in order to know where you are going, you need to look in the past. If you don't understand your past, you're not going to know, you're not going to be successful in the future. So Black history, to me, is one of those moments where you look back, reflect on it, and improve on where things might have not been as good as they're supposed to be.